Hi guys, okay, so we're on to our very last video and we are onto the inside back cover. I have obviously bound the book, I'll show you all that in a minute. I have the front cover already done. I kind of had it done before I even bound it, so I'll just give you a quick look at that. Here I have a little piece of lace, it's a lace flower, just to hide the stitching from the closure. And we have a little pocket tuck lined with lace, a little stamp and some sticky notes that can be actually torn off and used. Sorry about my nails, I'm all gesso. And inside it we have just some bits and bobs, just cute little things. And one of these, this is a Tim Holtz card, and I just put a brad and a piece of lace on it just to make it pretty. Now I do have one other thing to do here, and I am going to do it on camera for you. I'm going to put this little scalloped circle, came in a pack. I think this was actually part of a swap that I did. I got it in an envelope, and I'm going to put that there, but first I want to emboss something on it. So, getting out my embossing box and the stamp that I want as well. I'll have to pick that up there in a second. Okay, so I am using this kind of golden embossing powder. This is a generic one that I got from Wish. It does give really lovely molten kind of gold look. And I think that's all we need out of there. I need my little homemade embossing buddy pad thing. It's just got corn flour inside and some nylon tights. And and my stamp. Now my stamp is in here. I just have to put my hand to it. Again, not as organised as I want to be, but that's the story of my life. I won't hear this. Okay, so I'm going to put this little stamp on, just on the top here, and I'm going to leave space to write a name underneath. Okay, so that's our stamp. And I need my embossing ink. Oh, come back. So I'm using clear embossing stamp pad. Not sure which company this is actually. Sukaneko? I can't pronounce that, or I don't know what the correct pronunciation is. But that's the one anyway. Looks like that on the front. So, I'm going to take the book out of the way. I'm going to get a sheet of scrap paper that I keep under my mats. And they usually end up getting lovely and inky and painty and all the rest of it. There's a nice painty one. I'll use this side. Okay, now I had a particular side that I wanted to do this on, and I think this is it. I just need to ink it up a tiny little bit more. I had actually inked it up, but I think I inked the wrong side, so we'll just give it a little touch of ink around the edges here first. Now, a word to the boys, I discovered this unfortunately while I was doing a project for somebody. If you don't dry your distress inks or any other ink before you emboss, the embossing powder will just peel away after a while. So do make sure that it is dry before you emboss it. So I'm just going to hit that very quickly. Okay, so I am going to get rid of this embossing powder out of here before I do anything else, because I will send it flying. There we go. And job's a good one. Okay, so I'm going to buff that with a little bit of kitchen towel, just to take away that excess gold powder. voila, beautiful. I think it's beautiful anyway. So, over there. I so have to keep organising as I'm doing things because I have so much stuff out on the tables around me at the moment. Trying to do 3 or 4 different projects because they're commissions. Boy, and it really doesn't help the state of my desk. Okay, so we're going to stick this on here, and I'm going to use my tacky glue. Yeah, I like that. Very pretty. Okay, so onto the back cover. Now, I have started to include just a large card into the back of my journal so that it can be taken out and put behind pages to aid writing when there's bulk on the pages. So for example, if you wanted to write on this page here, then the bulk of this is going to catch it, so you put this in here and you can write away. So what I've decided is that I would make a place for it to sit in the back. Now this card isn't finished. I will be varnishing it and giving it a hard coat so that it will last, and it does need to be inked and all the rest, but we can do the rest of the work anyway. I will do that off camera at a later stage because it takes forever to dry. It actually takes overnight to dry the varnish that I use. Okay, so I have a few bits and bobs ready here, and that's one thing that I need right now. And there is another one here somewhere. Could be still inside my envelope. I had them stored in my envelope, so nope, there we go. So these are the 2 pieces I'm going to use as kind of like little corner tucks. So one will be up here, one will be down here, and this will tuck into them like this. Okay. But wait, there's more. First thing I want to do is jazz them up a little bit, of course. And to that end, we're going to use Inca Gold in Old Gold because it's the one we've been using throughout this book, so we're going to keep it cohesive. Now, as always, I'm going to take some out of the pot because I don't like dipping my fingers in. And I forgot to clean my palette knife. Oh, we'll get another one. Okay. So I'm going to use just a little bit like that. A bit more than what I'd use if I was putting something on the page because these things will take a little bit more. And we might even need more than that, but we'll see how we get on. Okay, so I'm going to take some on my finger. Dab it off a bit so it's not too much, and rub it gently on the surface of these little wood die cuts. And this process can take a little bit, so I'll fast forward this bit for you, okay? Okay, so we have those gilded nicely. They're looking very pretty. Nice and shiny. So I'll bring this back. I'm just going to scrape this up here out of the way. I'll leave it out because I don't want to be putting it back in. I'll use it for something at some point. So I have decided that I wanted the clock up there and the butterfly down here. And this has to be quite precise because of the space that I'm working with. So I think there and there. Okay, I'm going to remove this for now. We have it all in place. Ta-da! Alrighty. Now, next order of business is our envelope. Now this was a paper bag. I cut the bottom of it, folded it up, cut the top of the inside here and folded that down. Added a brad for a closure. That's all I did. Inked it up a bit. Okay, so it's still got the accordion fold in the sides to give it a little bit more room on the inside, and flap just tucks behind this brad. So that's all that I've done to it. So I am going to put this in as a flip, so that it flips over like that. So I have got some material to make a hinge. I have it all ready to go. Now it is a little bit too long, I can see that there, so I am going to cut a piece there and there. Or probably, actually, if I thought about it, I would just cut one piece and it may be usable afterwards. Yes, that might be, you know, the clever way to do it. So I'm just going to cut that piece off. Let's see, that should be enough, I think. No, I'm going to need another bit off here. Okay. It needs to not stick onto the butterfly, because I will need to be tucking my card in there. Okay, so that's enough. So I'm going to turn this over, and I'm sticking it on this side. Now I do want to stick it fairly well, so I'm going to gauge where I think the material itself is going to stop. Now with this particular paper of the bag, it's quite glossy, so I'll be able to get rid of glue handily enough, I reckon, if I put too much on. Now you have to use enough glue for the material itself, so put on quite a bit, and I'm going to drag it up this way a little bit. Dry off for a few minutes. Now, while we're doing that, I have some tags that I also want to slip in here with the card. So I have them inked up. They came like this. I didn't print them or anything like that. They came as is. I just inked them up. I just need to get some string for this one, and I know exactly the string I want. And it is this stuff. This is homespun, genuine Irish homespun from the Bogs down. It's actually up in Galway or Clare, I'm not sure. But anyway, actual genuine homespun. So really cool to get a reel of that. It was a present from a friend of mine. She had no interest or use for it, so but she saw it and thought of me, which was really nice. And I love the spool that it came on as well, isn't that really cool? Anyway, so I'm going to put a bit of this on here. Just the usual, loop it through, nothing fancy. My fingers are all sticky from the glue. And there we go, I'm just going to shorten those a small bit. Yeah. So there we go, we have 2 tags to go in there as well, and we have some bits to go into our envelope. Oh, one other thing, I knew there was something else. I want to put some stamps on the back of this one. I have the stamps picked out and ready to go, just need to arrange them. I bought just a bag full of used stamps on Wish. I assume they steam them from envelopes and things like that. And they come from all over the world, and you get some really cool ones in there. So I have picked out a couple for this. I have picked out an Italian one. Not sure where this is from, but I like the flower design on it. And this is Chinese, I'm assuming. I could be completely wrong, could be Thailand, could be Japan, I don't know, but it's a very Buddha-like character. Go tying in with the whole spirituality thing with the journal that I'm doing, so I thought that was pretty cool. So I just need to figure out how I want to arrange these. I love that there's a castle on that Italian one. Something like that. I like it maybe over that way a little bit. Yeah. Okay, so we're putting this one on first. So there's our 2 tags done, okay, and this will be in here as well, so it's going to look like that. And then this comes out. Okay, that's those. I think we might be safe enough to close that now. And here we go. Yeah. I'll put this aside just for a second. And these are the pieces that are going into the envelope. And I need to round the corners of this one. Another one of those Project Life card type cards. And it's just got kind of a cardboardy texture on the back. Quite vintagey. And very pretty rose picture on the front. So I need to ink up the edges of this one. Very quickly. Just give it a quick hit on this side as well. Et voila. That is that. And I have a sheet of notepaper, pretty tea-dyed notepaper with a rose on, and a sheet from a book about friendship, and it's got, you know, vintage style writing and nice borders, and I just thought I'd let that in. There's a few nice little sayings there. Friendship is love without his wings. That was Lord Byron. A friend is, as it were, a second self, by Cicero. And, you know, there's a few nice ones. Friendships are discovered rather than made. Harriet Beecher Stowe. She wrote Uncle Tom's Cabin. Friend is long sought, hardly found, and with difficulty kept. St. Jerome said that. Friend is a word of royal tone. Friend is a poem all alone. That's very sweet. That was a Persian poet. So anyway, that's what's going in there, and I will be putting one of our pretty little teardrop paper clips on it. There we go. I know I had a packet open, but they don't seem to be there. Oh, here we go. So I put paper clips on all the things that I put into envelopes and pockets and things, well, envelopes in particular, because if you have to rummage around an envelope to get these out, you risk tearing the envelope. So it's just easier to keep them clipped in a bundle and there's no rummaging involved. Okay, so these are going into our little envelope pocket. And the window gives a nice little peep show of what's in there. And I also have this Tim Holtz flashcard. It says story on the front and memory on the other side. I like story, so I'm actually going to put that there as well. Now, yeah. And that is that almost finished. There is one last thing to do. There we go. Lovely. Yeah, perfect. So that fits. Big one there. That's that. There's one last piece to do on this. And I don't have all the stuff ready for it, so I'm going to go and grab what I need and I will be right back. Okay, so that took a little bit longer than I expected. But anyway, here we go. So I have this image that I want to put on the back of our envelope, and I want to back it onto some of this, but I do want to gild the edges of both of them, I think. We'll see. Probably both of them. I'm just looking for, what am I looking for? I'm looking for, scrap of key stain paper as well. So I will layer it like so, but I want to tear around it, so I need a bigger piece. Here I have a bag of just scrap tea stained card and paper. Now I do particularly want paper this time because I want to cut down on the bulk. Sorry for all the riffling and noise and all the rest of it. A failed print for Halloween journal that I did, so I will use some of this. Something wrong with my printer at the time. It was leaking ink and it just destroyed several pages on me. So, okay, let's tear off this bit anyway. Tear it around that. And I'm just going to tear around the edges as well. Yeah, that's not bad. That'll do the job. Lovely. Okay, so I'm going to ink this before we go any further. I'm just using Vintage Photo because it is the first one I picked up. So I have cut out my square. I am going to grab my little baby scissors and distress the edge of it. All I'm doing is just running the blade of the scissors across it. Bashing the corners a little bit. I do also have some sandpaper that I will use there shortly. And it's just another way to make something look old. You know, it doesn't always have to be torn. And you can get distressor tools. I think the original one came from Tim Holtz. Forgive me if I'm wrong about that, but I think the original one came from Tim Holtz, and I think there's a couple of other people do them now. Okay, so that's that part. I'm going to grab my little, it's just a little sandpaper pad, and I'm going to buff up the edges of the corners so it takes like some of the surface off of the corner and just gives it an old look. And I just bend it and just do random things to it to make it look like it's been around a while, you know. Basically bashing crap out of it. That's that. And when we put our ink onto these edges, just going to it'll come up looking really cool, really old. Now I'm going to go off camera and dry these. before I go at embossing anything. Talk to you soon. Okay, so we're going to gild the very, very edges of these two. And I'm going to use the same gilding, the same embossing powder that I used for the piece for the front cover. And here's my embossing box again. There we go, and I'm actually going to take out my little thing again. I still have my embossing out. And we need our scrap. Okay, so I don't want the middle of this getting any, well, it doesn't really matter I suppose because it's covered anyway, but it's a waste of embossing powder, isn't it? And it will help take up any moisture, I suppose that's there as well, any extra moisture that might interact with the embossing powder. So, and I'm going to lay this out, because I'm doing the edges, I'm actually going to lay this out in a line. And just kind of dip the edges in as we go. So here's my embossing ink. I'm just running the edges into it like this and dipping them into the powder. Now yes, you have to be a bit delicate about not touching the edges once you have the powder on there. You don't want to knock it off again. But it's not that hard, you know. It's fine. And this will just give the barest little touch of gold, but it just adds an awful lot to the piece itself. It may only look tiny on its own, but the effect it has is bigger. So just dipping into my Now I am going to actually do these one at a time because it is so warm here. I'm afraid that the ink will dry up too fast on me. Okay, so that's the first one done, and I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but it just has the tiniest edge of gilding around the very, very edges. Okay, I'm going to do the very same on this. So there we have our two pieces of card and paper embossed and ready to go. Looking pretty. Just wiping off the excess powder because it's annoying. I don't like the feel of it at all. Yeah, I'm going to get rid of the rest of this. Et voilà. Now, so we're layering one on top of the other. I'm just trying to see which way up I want this. Okay, I think that way. Perfect. Okay, so there's our beautiful lady. And she will be sitting back here like this. But I am not going to put it in there straight away, and I shall show you why. Get this out of the way again. I am going to add some glossy accents and some little gems, so I'm going to have to leave her out overnight before I put her into the book, but I just wanted to show you what was going on there. So I'm just going to add my glossy accents, and I think I'm just going to add it to her, the little rose in her hair here. And a it'll just add a little extra dimension, a little extra special something to the piece, you know. So there's that. And I think maybe if I find some teeny tiny gems, which I know I do have some, but are they teeny tiny enough? I don't know. Yeah, some of these clear ones. I was thinking maybe some blue ones or something, but yeah, I know these clear ones are tiny enough, so I think I'll use those. And my trusty crafty knife. I have to be careful not to touch the glossy accents. Should probably have done that last, but anyway. So I'm just going to put them here on all four corners. Now I actually thought about covering this piece with acetate as well, but it would have made it too bulky, and I think it would have actually taken from the vintage look of it. I do use acetate in some of my vintage books, I just didn't want to use it here for whatever reason. Okay, so there is our pretty lady ready to go. I don't think it needs anything else. Now she is wearing a chain in the picture, but the pendant on the chain is very indistinct, so I don't want to put something there. I think it would just look out of place. Normally that would be something I would look at doing, but I think we'll leave her as she is. Okay, guys, guess what? We are finished our book. I do have a flick through what we have. Now, so this is our front piece. Pretty lady on the front. And the cover is actually a pink. That's been distressed and aged and vintagified. Is that a word? I don't know. And along the edges we have our kind of elongated pearl beads. Very pretty. Don't have any more of these left, unfortunately, but they do really well on the spine because they're not as bulky as the round ones. So there we have our hole that I will be putting my tassel on, and our tie. Okay, so I have glued and sewed a button on with gold thread, and underneath is another button just to give it some height to be able to wrap the wrap around. This is actually openable. It simply just wraps around here, tie it, and it doesn't need to be untied every time. It can just be slipped off. But it can also be adjusted as the book grows, or if the book grows. So that's that. And it's just through two eyelets back here. Okay. We have our cheesecloth edges, as always, laced down the centre, which is something I always do also. Our pocket with our bits. And I don't think I've actually added anything into this since our last flip through. The only thing I am actually going to be adding is some clips on the top. So this is essentially the finished journal. We have Our Lady to go in when she's dry and the clips to go on the top, and that's it. Everything else is done. So we have our tag in here, these little tags here, 3 little tags here, paper, envelope, tucked in with our key charm, and back here we actually have a charm as well. Our very pretty paper bag, really love how that came out. Our lace belly band. Our pretty decoupage birds. I did put another couple of quotes in here as well. tuck spot. That's where that came out of. I really need to go back and glue these. They must just have lost their stick. I thought it was because I just hadn't pressed them down properly. But no. Okay, anyway, on with the show and tell. Oh, glue everywhere now. So, yeah, we have our stamping, we have our dictionary page, printed pages and doilies, more quotes, stamping, our gorgeous envelope that we made. I adore how that came out, with our bits and pieces on the inside, held together with our paper clip, of course. More embossing, topped up with watercolour. So we did quite a lot in this stamping, tucks, and I hope you enjoyed doing it with me. It didn't always turn out perfectly, but they don't. That's, you know, part and parcel of doing something by hand and experimenting and all the rest of it. But you learn from it, and you discover new things that you wouldn't have discovered if they hadn't gone wrong in the first place. So like this, for instance, I would never have thought to do that, only for the mistake that I made. And I ended up putting a ruffle across here as well. It's our beautiful corner tuck, our mirror, pretty tab, and back to the back. So guys, I really do hope you enjoyed embellishing this journal with me. I hope you'll come back to see what I'm up to next. I do have another journal in the works, but it's very similar to this, so I don't think I'll be doing it on camera. So I will think up a new project to share with you, maybe doing some covers and things like that, because I didn't do the covering or the binding in this one, and maybe making the tassels as well if you'd like to see that. If you have any ideas about what you'd like to see, leave comments below. By all means, I would love to have comments and suggestions thrown at me like that, and we'll see what we can do about them. Thanks for watching, guys. I really do appreciate all of you who watched and who gave me thumbs up and subscribed. It means a lot to me. Hope to see a lot more of you very soon. Okay, bye.